Good morning, everybody. CADA Alcohol Awareness Month 2016. Talk early, talk often. Parents can make a difference in underage alcohol use. Good morning, Premier, Shadow Minister, Junior Minister, Superintendent, assignments, member of the media, DNC Director, Dean, members and friends. Bermuda will join the National Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependence, NACAD, in celebrating April 2016 as Alcohol Awareness Month. This is a time to increase public awareness and understanding, reduce stigma, and encourage communities to focus on alcoholism and alcohol-related issues. CADA joins the Department for National Drug Control and the Bermuda Coalition in recognizing the critical public health issues of alcoholism and the impact on our young people and families. During this call to action, there will be a specific focus on underage drinking and feature a positive impact that parents can have on reducing the incidence of underage drinking. Communities locally and across the United States will participate in this grassroots effort to highlight the effects of alcoholism and to highlight prevention, treatment, recovery, and that can be made available to our youth. For parents, April is Alcohol Awareness Month, and CADA, along with the DNDC and the Bermuda Coalition, want parents to know that progress is being made in the struggle to address underage drinking in our community. Research shows that parents who start the conversation early and often with their kids have a 50% chance of reduction in alcohol abuse by their kids. For the youth, April is Alcohol Awareness Month, and CADA, along with the DNDC and the Bermuda Coalition, want you to know that not all young people consume alcohol. For schools, CADA, along with the DNDC and the Bermuda Coalition, we would like to remind you that despite the legal age of 18, that 18.2% of middle and high school students say that they are consuming alcohol in the recently completed National School Survey 2015. Also note that CADA and its associates are available all year long to make presentations to your PTAs. No Alcohol Day 2016 will be April 29, 2016. CADA, along with the DNDC and the Bermuda Coalition, encourage you to take this day to sit down with your kids and to start the conversation about alcohol and drugs. In conclusion, talk early, talk often. Parents can make a difference in underage alcohol use. Mr. Premier?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Protocol having been established, it's great to see everyone come out in unison today for a very important announcement. The Department of National Drug Control's 2015 National School Survey, which monitors the prevalence of alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs, has revealed the lifetime prevalence of alcohol use for students from the years M2 to S4 is 52.6%. That is just over half of our students. This percentage obviously is very concerning. Alcohol use and abuse remains one of the greatest challenges facing Bermuda's young people. The Ministry of National Security takes this opportunity to thank all of the prevention agencies, such as CADA, who have consistently advocated and shared many prevention messages about the dangers of alcohol consumption. Alcohol use by our young people is extremely dangerous, both to themselves and, of course, to society as a whole. It is directly associated with several misfortunes, including, tragically, road traffic fatalities, violence, suicide, educational failure, alcohol overdose, unsafe sex, and other very problematic behaviors. And today, Bermuda joins the U.S. National Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependence in recognizing April as Alcohol Awareness Month. This year's theme, as Mr. Santucci has already said, is talk early, talk often. Parents can make a difference in teen alcohol use. The Department of National Drug Control have the resources necessary to help parents begin that very important conversation with their children about drugs and alcohol. Parents are urged to be prepared by educating themselves about the consequences of alcohol use and abuse and have conversations with our children about this issue. Let's be very clear. Parents are the most important role models in their children's lives. What parents say and do matters about drug and alcohol, and a lot of it will impact the choices that our children make. We urge all parents, set a positive example and get involved in your children's lives. Get involved in all of their activities. Know their friends, know where they're going, and know what they are doing. Create clear and consistent expectations and enforce them. Talk early and often about drugs and alcohol. Discuss the consequences of drug and alcohol use, and show that you care enormously about your children and the choices they make in regards to everything in their life, but specifically as it relates to Alcohol Awareness Month, alcohol and drugs. Our children always listen and watch what we do, and it is up to us to take an active interest in everything they do and help them make the right choices. With those comments, I'll turn it over now to the Shadow Minister, MP Weeks.
Thank you, Mr. Premier. Good morning, everyone. Protocol having already been established. April is Alcohol Awareness Month. The theme for this year is talk early, talk often. Parents can make a difference. Parents and adults must take personal responsibility for making alcohol less accessible to our young people. The younger a person is when they start consuming alcohol, the greater the potential to become addicted to alcohol or drugs later in life. So let's talk early, talk often. Parents, they can make a difference. The National School Survey for 2015 reports that the lifetime use of alcohol is 52%. Current use of alcohol is 18%. That means that 18% of our current middle and senior school students report consuming alcohol. Consistent and sustained parental attitudes can influence a child's decision about whether or not to use alcohol and/or drugs. Children who have conversations with their parents or guardians, and in turn learn a lot about the dangers of alcohol and drug use, are 50% less likely to use alcohol and/or drugs than those who don't have such conversations at all. In 2014, the total amount of alcohol sold in Bermuda was 6.5 million liters, and that source is from a report put out by the Department of National Drug Control. Where do they get the alcohol? Well, per the National School Survey of 2015, and I quote, about half of the current users of alcohol have reported that they usually get it from France. A significant number, or about 1 out of every 8 current users, has reported the shop as a source of their alcohol consumed. Well, people know me, I'm old school, so what I would suggest is that we go to the source. If our children are getting alcohol from France and the shop, then shouldn't we make it more difficult for them to get it from these sources? So talk early, talk often. Parents, we can make a difference. I would say that it is way past time to have a serious discussion about social hosting laws. Isn't it way past time also to have a serious discussion about the creation of an Alcohol Bureau Control Department? We sold 6.5 million liters of alcohol in 2014, but our population is decreasing. I recently read an article in the Examiner titled, "The next 10 years for alcohol business will be like the last 20 years for tobacco." It gave several reasons, but I will only address a few. One was healthcare costs continue to rise, forcing a focus on cost drivers. 2, more long-term health consequences from moderate drinking are coming to light, while more benefits, so to speak, of drinking are being debunked. Productivity weakens, forcing a more focus on cost drivers. More attention is being paid to the impact of alcohol advertising on our youth. So thank you for the opportunity this morning. And remember, parents, guardians, and teachers, to talk often, talk early, because parents can make a difference. Thank you.
Good morning. Protocol having been established.
Alcohol abuse is directly linked to a wide range of problems and tragedies because of its negative effect on our decision-making, our attitude, and our behavior. Sadly, we in the police are all too familiar with these issues. We deal with the victims of domestic violence and their abusers. We deal with violence, assaults that occur in and around our bars, our nightclubs, and our sporting clubs. We deal with antisocial behaviors that create noise, litter, graffiti, loitering, and other nuisances in our neighborhoods. And of course, we deal with the victims and the perpetrators of road traffic fatalities. Alcohol, or more pointedly, the abuse of it, plays a significant role in many of these incidents. To be clear, if responsible consumption had taken place, many of these incidents simply would not have occurred. Reflecting on the recent past, the challenge around gun and gang violence has quite rightly preoccupied our attention and our energy. However, when you realize that between 2008 and November 2015, there were 91 lives lost on our roads, more than a 3-to-1 ratio when compared to gang-related murders, the scope of the problem is very apparent. Tragically, alcohol often plays a part in these collisions. The role of the police in this area is, of course, primarily law enforcement based, but in every case where we act to enforce the rules, it's after the fact. The damage has already been done, and in most cases cannot be undone. No amount of punitive action, no amount of jail time, no monetary fine can ever bring back a life or heal the scars of a road traffic collision. There's much work to be done in the areas of education and prevention, and we support CADA in its efforts to get all of Bermuda involved. CADA's emphasis for this occasion is to raise awareness around underage drinking, particularly through parental engagement. Talk early, talk often. Parents can make a difference. Succinctly captures both the obligation and the outcome in a way that's easy to understand, remember, and do. How will you respond? While the focus is clearly on parents, when we examine the risk, protective, and resiliency factors present in children, the research clearly shows that a close positive bond with at least one adult in a caring relationship or role can have a dramatic impact toward positive outcomes in the life of a child. We all have a part to play. On behalf of the Commissioner, the officers of all of the staff of the Bermuda Police Service and the Reserve Police, I offer the comment that there's still a lot to be done in Bermuda to shape a more responsible culture around drinking and driving and the consumption of alcohol in general. Much of it is outside the remit of the police, and to that end, we're proud to work with CADA in promoting this year's Alcohol Awareness Month. And I look forward to our continued success in partnering with CADA and the rest of the Bermuda public in making Bermuda safer. Thank you.
Good morning. I'll be reading the proclamation for Alcohol Awareness Month. Whereas the objective for Alcohol Awareness Month 2016 is to raise public awareness about underage drinking. Talk early, talk often. Parents can make the difference. Whereas parents and adults must take personal responsibility for making alcohol less accessible to our young people. Whereas the younger a person is when they begin consuming alcohol, the more likely they are to develop an addiction to alcohol. Whereas those who begin drinking before the age of 15 are 4 times more likely to develop alcohol addiction than those who wait to the age of 21. Whereas the National School Survey 2015 reports lifetime use of alcohol at 52%, current use of alcohol at 18%. Whereas the National School Survey 2015 reports 19.2% of youth said that they were a passenger on a bike or in a car by someone who has been drinking. Whereas consistent and sustained parental attitudes can influence a child's decision about whether or not they use alcohol and drugs. Whereas children who have conversations with their parents, guardians, and learn a lot about the dangers of alcohol and drugs are 50% less likely to use alcohol and drugs than those who don't have such conversations. Whereas CADA will lobby for sobriety checkpoints, mandatory alcohol testing for all collisions resulting in injury, the establishment of an alcohol bureau of control, and the lobbying for the social hosting legislation remains ongoing. Whereas CADA will lobby for social hosting legislation to impose lawful liability on social hosts as a result of them serving alcohol to minors or adults who are obviously already intoxicated. Now, therefore, the Honorable Michael H. Dunkley, JP MP, Premier and Minister of National Security, do hereby proclaim that the month of April in the year of our Lord 2016 is to be observed throughout these islands as Alcohol Awareness Month.
Social hosting effectively is legislation that holds social hosts accountable for individuals that consume alcohol on their property or in their home. In many cases throughout the United States, it effectively deals with kids and adults, and in some cases specifically children. For an example, if my kid comes over to Brian's house and it comes to him after consuming alcohol, then I will give Darren a call and say, Brian has got my underage kid inebriated, I need you to do something about it. So, and Darren will go over and take a close visit to Brian.
Will that extend to events?
What we call events, yes. But a prime example would be, how do I call those things? Camps at games. Yes, so if I was having a game and I had a camp and I gave away alcohol, they would be responsible for assuming that their friends would also be responsible and get home safely as well. You're welcome.
Has there been any discussion to raising the drinking age?
In short, there was some discussion back in 2007 when CADA made his legislative recommendations, and at that point in time, the decision was made that we would deal with other issues as opposed to raising the drinking age.
So not recently?
Not recently, no.
Any further questions? Just one comment in regards to some of the initiatives that CADA has mentioned here today. We continue to have discussions with all prevention agencies, but we don't have any position papers from CADA recently on these issues, so we look forward to receiving them.
Thank you.
Thank you.